Luke Collins, what's up? This is Adrian Gomez. Thanks for coming to the camp, and I'm excited to see what we can do. So getting into the back leg, power to the back leg right now is at 103. So you're actually doing a great job of squatting down and getting inside of your knee. Your foot's in the right position. Knee is actually doing pretty good as well. You're early up. You can see your hand early up. And it's right away. I think you're coming up way too early, and so we're just pushing the ball quite a bit. But power to the back leg's pretty good. As you can see right here, though, your leg comes off and it pulls through. So this is something that you can definitely work on to really stay on the ground and push through with that back leg as opposed to letting it come up. Next one we're going to talk about is your front foot. So as you plant, let's see what your front foot does. Your knee's over your ankle, and it firms up and it comes back. So that's what we want to have happen. Plant. So it moves a little bit. It's a little bit of movement here. So I don't want that knee to move at all. I want it to basically just retract like this. So if you can do that, that's going to help really just solidify that front leg, and your back leg's going to be able to push better as well. So let's see at plant foot. Let's see your angle. This is the double angle at plant foot. Right here is about 109 degrees, which is actually pretty fabulous. We want it to be above 110. We want it to be just a little bit further. So that means that you could have pushed a lot further down the mound if you would have just not put that foot down. You could have extended further. The arm's coming back early, and you can just see it cock back too early. That's early. We don't want that to happen. So out of the front knee, let's look at the front knee in this angle. $128, and it comes back a little bit. But if that firmed up, and if this knee came back this way, this chest would be able to rotate through as well. So I think a lot of it is going to be a chest problem, but this knee could come back and be a little bit more helpful, more stable. So getting into the posture at ball release. You're what we call a B posture. This would be A, this would be you're a B, and this is a C. So as you trace yourself back, you're in this position, and when you come forward, you're in this position. So that's a huge head movement. I'd like to see you start back, maybe not that far, right here, with your head coming back to this line. And as you drive through, your head movement would be from that line to there. It would be far reduced, and you'd be able to rotate better around your body. So that's something that I want you to work on for sure with your posture, and that's just locking in your posture with all the drills and staying back a little bit. Getting into launch. This is our launch phase. This is where you're launching the ball, and the launch is coming almost behind the foot. What that means is this is what we call a very early launch. And it's too early, and that's what's putting it's going to put a lot of pressure on your arm, and late break movement, all these things are going to be a little bit more difficult when you're throwing from there. So that's part of the reason your chest isn't driving through in your early launch, is because your back leg comes in and doesn't have that support, and that chest should come off of that. So that's the chest extension right there. So that's what you're missing. That back leg is going to provide the support for your chest. So let's move into the next one. We're going to talk to you about stacking, and this is huge. As you get inside, you do a good job you do separate too early with your hands, and what that does is it just provides the time, and timing's a little bit off when you do that, and so you're not pinching and driving at the right times. So we want this knee to be inside and your upper body to be back, this head basically over that rubber as long as possible, and you do a pretty good job of it. But I think your hands need to be together. Your hands need to be together longer, and then separate and explode and drive through. That's what you're missing, is the timing of your hands. Looking at your front glove, let's look at your front glove. As you get through and your front glove dives down, notice where the energy is going. Then the arm has to come up on this side. Arm goes down, hand comes on this side to be able to get the ball through. So we can affect some change in this if we come back and you pinch this way, and we have some positive disconnection here, and then my chest drives through, and it's going to be a lot lower, and it's also going to be, instead of up here, you're going to be out here, and this is that chest extension we were talking about. That chest is going to drive way further instead of standing almost straight up. So front glove's going to be huge. We've got to get the front glove to pinch this way. And if you do that, you're going to really be able to rotate your body better. Which brings us into the high elbow. So as you rotate through, we're going to look at your elbow. Oops. Right here. Off the elbow. We're right on track. So if this elbow is supposed to stay at the shoulder level, then you need to keep driving that chest through instead of letting your elbow come up. And it's coming up and out, and it's putting a ton of drag on that elbow, especially the anterior shoulder, just in front of the shoulder. So big time, we want to make sure that you're driving your chest, which leads us into, so high elbow, your elbow's fine, but it does rise quite a bit because of the front glove. So let's look at your chest extension. This is another number that I think, number one, you need to fix. So you're at about 23 degrees, and I want you to be at 48 degrees, somewhere in there. So you've got to work on really driving your chest through so that the elbow doesn't rise. It just stays right here, and it stays on this path. That's going to speed everything up. That's going to create a lot of power from your core and your body, and velocity should go up. The last thing we're going to talk about is, this is your layback. If I was to draw a cross section of your arm here and here, now you see the arm, how high it rises. It's a completely different place. You actually do not a bad job. I would minimize it just a little bit further into here. If you could bring your wrist into there and keep your elbow bent, your arm stays straight. I want to keep your arm bent as much as possible. So that's what you're missing, that bent arm to pronate and finish through. And that's why that you get that early launch, because you're not extending your chest, you're not driving, your arm is going straight as opposed to staying bent, which would be even further out here. So between all of those things that you need to work on, if you just little by little work on one weakness at a time, you're going to be in a completely different place in a year from now. If you work on your throwing just as much as you do your hitting, and this is going to make your arm feel better, especially with the arm care. And we should be in a different place next year when I come back. Thanks for being a part of 212 Athlete.